I designed roller coasters that made people scream with excitement. Until I discover my wife's viral TikTok series, Rehab My Husband, featuring me as the clueless project. 500,000 strangers were laughing at my private life while I was out of town. She thought she controlled the narrative, but she forgot one thing. I designed the most unexpected drops in the business, and her free fall was about to begin. My name is Caleb Thornton. I'm 38 years old, and until 6 months ago, I thought I had it all figured out. A successful career designing amusement park attractions that took me around the world, a beautiful home in Portland, a seemingly loving wife, and our daughter Emily, the light of my life. Autumn and I met 7 years ago at an industry conference in Orlando. She was handling the accounting for a theme park client, and we hit it off immediately. Her ambitious drive matched my creative energy. 5 years of marriage and 1 kid later, I thought we were solid, despite the stress of my travel schedule and her growing restlessness as a stay-at-home mom who took on freelance accounting work. The message that shattered this illusion came on a Tuesday morning while I was in Dallas, overseeing final safety tests on my newest coaster design. "Dude, have you seen what your wife is posting about you?" The text from my college buddy Mike included a TikTok link. I clicked it without thinking twice. There was Autumn, sitting in our living room with professional lighting I'd never seen before. "Welcome to day 1 of Rehab My Husband," she announced with a smirk I didn't recognize. "Today we're addressing his inability to put his dirty socks in the hamper. I swear I'm married to a man-child." The video cut to secretly recorded footage of me in our bedroom, completely unaware I was being filmed, followed by shots of socks next to "not in" the hamper. My blood ran cold as I scrolled through dozens more videos, each exposing some private aspect of our marriage to hundreds of thousands of viewers. My absent-mindedness when working on designs. My tendency to zone out when stressed. Even footage of me asleep, mouth open, snoring. The comment section was brutal. "Girl, you need to upgrade that model, and this is why I'm staying single." I set down my phone, a strange calm settling over me as the initial shock faded into something colder, more resolute. The roller coaster designer in me recognized the slow climb before a massive drop. But Autumn had no idea what was coming next. Because while she was busy creating her Rehab My Husband series, she'd failed to notice the husband was designing the ride of her life. One with a drop she'd never see coming. For the next 3 days in Dallas, I watched Autumn's TikTok subscriber count climb by the thousands. Each morning began with checking her latest Rehab My Husband episode before she woke up in Portland. Day 8, teaching him basic kitchen skills because apparently making coffee without spilling grounds everywhere is advanced engineering. She demonstrated proper coffee-making technique, like she was instructing a preschooler. What struck me wasn't just the betrayal, though that cut deep, but her transformation on camera. This wasn't the woman who'd FaceTimed with Emily and me just last night, asking when Daddy was coming home. On TikTok, she was animated, exasperated, playing to her audience with rehearsed expressions and perfectly timed eye rolls. I called home that evening, maintaining my usual tone. Emily answered with excitement. "Daddy, when are you coming home? Mommy's doing videos again." "Hey, princess, just 2 more days. Are you being good for Mommy?" "Yes. Sometimes she makes me be quiet because she's filming." My jaw clenched. "Can you put Mommy on?" Autumn's voice shifted to the one I recognized when she picked up. "Hey babe, how's Dallas?" "Fine. Tests are running smoothly." "What's this about Emily having to be quiet for filming?" "Oh, just some accounting tutorials I'm making. Nothing major," she lied smoothly. "You sound tired." "Everything okay. Just the usual pre-launch stress." I matched her performance with one of my own. "Listen, I'm thinking about taking Emily to the coast when I get back. Just the 2 of us for the weekend. You could have some time to yourself." "That would be amazing. I could catch up on work," she said, clearly thinking about making more content without us around. Exactly what I was thinking. After hanging up, I made 3 calls. To my attorney, to a private investigator who specialized in digital evidence collection, and to my bank. By morning, I had appointments scheduled, accounts separated, and a plan forming. At the test track, my colleague Rick noticed my unusual focus. "You've triple-checked those G-force calculations, Caleb. Everything all right?" I looked up from my laptop, where I'd been documenting every video Autumn had posted. "Just being thorough." When you design something to take people on an unexpected journey, you need to ensure every detail is perfect. That's why you're the best, he said, slapping my shoulder. No one sees the drops coming in your designs until it's too late to turn back. I smiled grimly. If only Autumn realized she was now riding a coaster of my design, one with a vertical drop she'd never anticipate and no safety harness to catch her. I landed in Portland on Thursday evening, my mind as ordered as the technical drawings I'd finalized in Dallas. While Autumn expected an exhausted husband ready to fall back into familiar patterns, she was about to meet a man with precision-engineered plans. Emily ran to me the moment I walked through the door. "Daddy, I missed you so much." I scooped her up, inhaling the scent of her strawberry shampoo, my resolve strengthening. "I missed you too, princess. More than all the roller coasters in the world." Autumn approached for her obligatory welcome home kiss, her phone suspiciously absent for once. "How was the final testing?" "Flawless," I replied, setting Emily down. "The client's thrilled. We open next month." "That's great, babe. I made your favorite dinner." The evening passed with practiced domesticity. I played with Emily, while Autumn prepared a meal she normally wouldn't bother with. I noticed the house was spotless, unusual given her typical disdain for housework, which she'd mocked me for not helping with enough in her videos. She was clearly setting the stage for filming my homecoming improvement. After tucking Emily in, I retreated to our garage workshop where I kept my design equipment. Out of Autumn's sight, I connected to a secure email account and confirmed that my attorney had received all the documentation I'd sent. The PI had already completed preliminary analysis of Autumn's public videos, identifying at least 17 instances of unauthorized filming in private spaces. The next morning, I took Emily to her preschool, lingering longer than usual. "Is everything okay, Mr. Thornton?" her teacher asked. "Just appreciating the moment," I said honestly. "Hey, I'm planning a daddy-daughter weekend at the coast. Would you mind putting together any schoolwork she might miss on Monday?" "Of course. Emily's so advanced for her age. She's our little problem solver." I smiled proudly. She gets that from me. Returning home, I found Autumn in her newly created studio space, formerly our guest room, setting up lighting equipment. "I didn't know you were upgrading your accounting tutorials," I commented casually. She startled slightly. "Oh, just trying to look more professional. First impressions matter." "They certainly do," I agreed, watching her carefully. "Listen, don't forget I'm taking Emily to Cannon Beach tomorrow morning. We'll be back Monday." "Actually," she said, feigning disappointment, "I have a potential new client meeting Monday. Could you bring her back Sunday night instead?" Translation: she wanted an empty house to film more content. "Sure thing. I've got a work call Monday anyway." That work call was actually a meeting with my attorney, but she didn't need to know that. While she returned to adjusting her ring light, I silently moved through the house, gathering important documents and irreplaceable family mementos to store in my SUV's hidden compartment, the first physical steps in my disappearing act. That night, watching Autumn scroll through comments on her phone while she thought I was asleep, I felt an odd calm. Like the smooth lift hill before a roller coaster's first drop, these moments of quiet preparation would make the coming plunge all the more powerful. Our weekend at Cannon Beach became the eye of the storm. Peaceful moments with Emily building sandcastles and hunting for seashells while I quietly advanced my exit strategy during her naps. From our oceanfront cabin, I secured a short-term apartment in Seattle, transferred funds to new accounts, and arranged for a Seattle-based job interview that had actually been in the works for months. "Daddy, look, I found a perfect shell," Emily exclaimed, holding up a flawless sand dollar. "It's beautiful, sweetheart. Just like you." I pulled her close, memorizing her delighted expression. "Should we put it in our special collection?" She nodded solemnly, placing it in the treasure box we'd bought specifically for this trip. This box would soon travel with us to our new life, one where she wasn't required to stay silent during her mother's filming sessions. When we returned Sunday evening, Autumn was in full content creator mode, barely acknowledging Emily's excited recounting of our adventures. "That's nice, honey," she said, eyes on her laptop. "Why don't you go play in your room while Mommy finishes this important work?" I caught the familiar disappointment in Emily's eyes before she trudged upstairs. That single dismissive moment crystallized everything I was fighting for. "Successful weekend?" I asked Autumn casually. Very. My new series is really gaining traction. She hesitated, then added, Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. Here it was. The escalation I'd anticipated. I've been thinking about including you in some of my content. Nothing major, just a couple's Q&A. I maintained a neutral expression. What kind of content exactly? Just lifestyle stuff. Relationship advice. Things that viewers find helpful. Interesting timing, I said, carefully monitoring her reaction. A colleague sent me a TikTok yesterday. Something called Rehab My Husband. Reminded me of you. Her fingers froze over the keyboard, her expression flickering between shock and calculation. Then she laughed, too high-pitched to be genuine. That's so random. There are thousands of relationship coaches online these days. True, I agreed, letting the moment stretch uncomfortably. Though not many film their spouses without consent. Her face paled slightly, but her recovery was quick. That would be terrible. Invasive and probably illegal. Definitely illegal in Oregon. Two-party consent state. I'll let the legal fact hang in the air between us. Watching her mental gears turn. She wasn't ready to admit anything yet, which suited my timeline perfectly. The next phase required her to believe she still controlled the narrative. Anyway, I continued casually, I'll think about the Q&A. I'm pretty camera shy, but I understand building your brand is important. Relief washed over her face, followed by renewed calculation. It would really help me reach the next level. We could film next weekend. Maybe, I said, heading upstairs to check on Emily. Let me think about it. As I climbed the stairs, I could feel her eyes on my back, likely already planning how to present my transformation to her audience. Little did she know I was planning something too. My wife had made a Fix My Husband TikTok series, but I was quietly crafting my disappearing husband finale. The ultimate strategic exit that would turn the tables completely. The next morning, I drove to the Portland office of Jackson Engineering, my main contractor for the Dallas project. My boss, Victor, had agreed to meet me privately. You sure about this, Caleb? Victor asked, reviewing the Seattle transfer request I'd placed on his desk. You're our top designer. Portland will suffer without you. I appreciate that, but circumstances at home require relocation. I kept my tone professional despite the emotions roiling beneath the surface. Victor leaned back in his chair, studying me. This have anything to do with those videos your wife's been posting? My daughter showed me one yesterday. Pretty rough stuff, man. I stiffened. You've seen them. Unfortunately. Listen, Thornton, I've been married 30 years. If my wife pulled that stunt, I'd be looking at transfer options too. Relief washed over me. Victor slid the approved transfer form across his desk. Seattle office could use your expertise on the Vancouver project. When can you start? 2 weeks, I replied, the timeline crystallizing. I appreciate your discretion. Just take care of yourself and that little girl of yours. When I returned home, Autumn was filming in the kitchen, unaware of my presence. I stood in the doorway, watching her performance. Day 32 of Rehab My Husband, she announced cheerfully. Today we're implementing your suggested chore chart system with gold stars for completed tasks. I literally have to treat him like our 3-year-old. The massive whiteboard on our kitchen wall hadn't been there this morning. She must have installed it immediately after I left. Complete with magnetic gold stars and categories like basic hygiene and adult responsibilities. I deliberately made my presence known, stepping heavily into the kitchen. Autumn jumped, quickly lowering her phone. Caleb, you're home early. Interesting decoration. I nodded toward the whiteboard. Something new for your accounting clients. Oh, this. She laughed nervously. Just trying to organize our household better. You know how we both get busy. By tracking my basic hygiene. I raised an eyebrow. Her eyes widened slightly before she recovered. It's for both of us, silly. I'll be using it too. I see my name at the top. Not yours. I pointed out calmly. I haven't finished setting it up, she backpedaled. Don't be so sensitive. I shrug and grab a water bottle from the fridge. Where's Emily? At my mother's. I have a lot of work to catch up on. Translation. She needed a child-free house for filming. I nodded and headed to my workshop, deciding not to confront her directly yet. The timing wasn't right. That evening, while Autumn edited videos in her studio, I placed a call to my Seattle realtor. The 3-bedroom in Queen, and I'll take it. The property would become our new permanent home after Emily and I completed our strategic exit. Later, scrolling through Autumn's TikTok comments on my burner phone, I noticed a shift in audience sentiment. "Is the husband in on this?" one comment asked. "That whiteboard is emotional abuse. Not cute," said another. The ride was reaching its tipping point exactly as designed. For the next week, I implemented Phase 2, strategic inconsistency. Rather than confronting Autumn directly about her videos, I began subtly disrupting her carefully crafted narrative. When she filmed me failing to load the dishwasher correctly, I suddenly turned and looked directly into her phone's camera, holding eye contact for 3 uncomfortable seconds before returning to my task without comment. Her followers noticed immediately. "Wait, does he know he's being recorded?" And that look straight into the camera was chilling. During another secret filming session, I casually mentioned, "By the way, Oregon's 2-party consent laws are fascinating. Did you know unauthorized recording can result in both civil penalties and criminal charges?" I watched her face pale as she quickly shut off her phone. The beauty of this approach was its deniability. I never explicitly acknowledged the videos, leaving Autumn constantly off balance, unsure whether I knew everything or nothing at all. Meanwhile, I meticulously advanced my exit strategy. I secured Emily's school transfer to Seattle, arranged movers who specialized in discreet relocations, and continued documenting every unauthorized video for my attorney. At work, I started gradually bringing home my personal items while leaving office decorations in place, the professional equivalent of my disappearing act. The unexpected catalyst came Thursday evening when Autumn approached me with unusual warmth. "I've been thinking," she began, sitting beside me on the couch. "My social media following has really taken off. Some brands are interested in partnerships." "That's great," I replied neutrally. "I'd like to do a special couples Q&A video," she continued, placing her hand on mine, "to show how partners can grow together. It would be really helpful for my followers." Here it was, the request I'd anticipated. Not content with unauthorized filming, she now wanted my willing participation in my own public humiliation. I measured my response carefully. What exactly would this involve? Just us talking about how our relationship has improved lately. How you've grown. Her eyes gleamed with excitement that had nothing to do with our marriage and everything to do with content metrics. "You mean how I've been successfully rehabilitated?" I asked, keeping my tone light despite the deliberate word choice. She flinched slightly. "That's not what I'd call it." "What would you call it, Autumn?" "Just showing relationship growth. Couples supporting each other." She squeezed my hand. "Think about how many relationships we could help." "Let me consider it," I replied, already formulating how this request would play into my final move. "When were you thinking of filming?" "This weekend would be perfect. I've already mentioned it to my followers." Of course she had. Promising content she didn't yet have secured. Classic creator mistake. "I'll let you know tomorrow," I said, standing up. "I need to finish some design work tonight." In my workshop, I sent a text to my attorney. "She's escalated as predicted. Implement final phase beginning Monday." The roller coaster was approaching its peak. From here, there was nowhere to go but down, and I designed this drop to be the most spectacular of my career. The weekend arrived with Autumn in full preparation mode for our couple's Q&A video. She transformed our living room into a proper studio, complete with professional lighting, branded backdrop, and 2 director-style chairs positioned at intimate angles. "What do you think?" she asked, gesturing proudly at the setup. "Very professional," I acknowledged, noting the sponsor products strategically placed in camera view. "You've clearly put thought into this." "The brands are expecting big numbers," she admitted, adjusting a light. "This could be our breakthrough moment." Our breakthrough moment. As if her secret filming of my private life had been a collaborative effort all along. "I need to finalize some things at the office first," I told her. "I'll be ready by 2. At the office, I wasn't finalizing design work, but rather my exit strategy. I confirmed the Seattle apartment lease, arranged for Emily's medical records transfer, and sent my attorney the final documentation package. When I returned home, I found Autumn rehearsing her introduction. "Welcome to a special episode of Rehab My Husband, where for the first time, we're bringing the project himself on camera to discuss his journey." The project. Not her husband. Not the father of her child. The project. She spotted me in the doorway. There he is, ready to make some content magic. I nodded, sitting in the designated chair. Let's get this over with. Try to sound more enthusiastic, she coached, setting up her phone. The audience responds to positive energy. I'll do my best, I replied neutrally. For the next hour, I played my role perfectly, the somewhat reluctant but supportive husband answering scripted questions about my improvement journey. I admitted to minor flaws while gently redirecting some of her more humiliating prompts. Would you say the Gold Star system has helped you understand basic household management? She asked, referencing the infantilizing chart that had angered many of her recent viewers. I'd say communication in any relationship is important. I deflected smoothly, though methods that work for children might not always be best for marriages. Her smile tightened, but she continued through her question list. When we finished, she seemed pleased but slightly unsettled. That was great, though some of your answers weren't quite what we discussed. I thought authenticity was important for viewers, I replied innocently. As she began editing immediately, I texted my Seattle realtor, proceeding with Monday closing. Wire transfer complete. That night, I tucked Emily in with extra stories, knowing our routine would soon change dramatically. Daddy, are you sad? She asked with a child's perception. No, princess. Sometimes grown-ups have to make hard decisions to fix problems. Like when you have to tear down a broken roller coaster to build a better one. I smiled at her perfect analogy. Exactly like that. Monday morning arrived with an unexpected opportunity. Over breakfast, Autumn announced she had an important meeting with sponsors. They loved our Q&A preview. They want to expand the partnership deal, she said excitedly. I'll be downtown most of the day. Perfect timing. I'll handle daycare pickup then. Good luck with your meeting. After she left, I immediately called my attorney. She's out all day. We can accelerate. Within an hour, a small team arrived at our house, not to pack everything, but to relocate specific items I'd carefully inventoried. Emily's favorite toys and clothes, my essential design equipment, irreplaceable family photographs, and key documents. Remember, nothing obvious, I instructed the team leader. Leave enough that it looks normal at first glance. I'd scheduled Emily's dentist appointment to coincide with this operation, picking her up early from daycare to avoid any chance of her innocently mentioning the movers to Autumn. We're going on a special trip tomorrow, I told Emily as we drove to our hotel. But it's a surprise, so we can't tell Mommy yet. Like a birthday surprise? She asked. Something like that. That evening, I returned home alone after settling Emily with a trusted babysitter at the hotel. Autumn was still editing her successful sponsorship meeting into content. How did it go? I asked, sounding genuinely interested. Amazing. They're offering a 6-figure contract for a Rehab, My Husband Home Edition series, she gushed. We need to film 3 times a week, but the money would be incredible. That's quite a commitment, I noted, checking my watch. Would I need to sign anything? Just standard release forms. Nothing major. She waved dismissively. Where's Emily? Still at my mother's. She wanted to sleep over with Grandma. The lie rolled easily off my tongue. Necessary protection for what would come next. I needed one more night in this house to finalize preparations. I've been thinking about your series, I said carefully. It's impressive how quickly you've built an audience. Her eyes lit up at the validation. People really connect with relationship content, especially when it feels authentic, I agreed. Though I wonder how authentic they'd find it if they knew it was filmed without consent. Her expression froze. What exactly are you saying? Nothing yet, I replied calmly. Just thinking aloud about what makes content successful. That night, as Autumn slept, I made final preparations, transferring remaining funds, backing up evidence to secure servers, and placing a small envelope on my pillow for her to find tomorrow. Inside was a QR code that would activate at precisely 2 p.m. the following day, linking to my own video revealing the truth behind her authentic content. The final descent was about to begin. At exactly 2 p.m., I was already halfway to Seattle with Emily securely buckled in the back seat, singing along to her favorite soundtrack. My phone remained off, airplane mode ensuring no disruptions. The QR code I'd left would now be active, directing Autumn to a video I'd uploaded to her own TikTok account using the emergency access she'd once shared with me, a detail she'd likely forgotten. In Seattle, we arrived at our new apartment with a stunning view of Puget Sound. The moving team had arranged everything perfectly, Emily's bedroom was set up with her favorite stuffed animals and bedding, making the transition as smooth as possible. "Is this our new castle, Daddy?" she asked, exploring the space with wide-eyed wonder. "It is, Princess. Do you like it?" "I love it. Can we see the roller coasters from here?" I smiled, lifting her to look out the window. "Not quite, but we can see boats and mountains instead." While Emily investigated her new surroundings, I finally turned on my phone. The cascade of notifications confirmed my expectations. The video had gone live on Autumn's account with a simple title, "The Truth Behind Rehab My Husband, a Final Episode." In it, I calmly explained how I discovered my wife series, documented the unauthorized filming, and decided to create my own disappearing husband finale. I included evidence of her planned monetization, clips where she admitted to exaggerating my faults for views, and testimony from child development experts about the potential harm to children for being forced to participate in parents' content creation. Most damning were the outtakes I'd recovered from her cloud storage. Moments where she staged messes for me to be blamed for, rehearsed her exasperated reactions, and coached Emily to say specific lines on camera. The comments section was erupting with shock and support. She literally manufactured content from her marriage. "This is why consent matters in relationship content. The way he handled this is masterclass. No drama, just facts." My attorney called with an update. "The video's already over 1 million views. Her sponsors are pulling out. You've completely reversed the narrative." "And the legal paperwork filed this morning. Given the evidence of exploitation, we're in an extremely favorable position regarding custody." I thanked him and joined Emily in the living room, where she was arranging her toys. "Daddy, can we call Mommy to see our new castle?" I sat beside her, choosing my words carefully. "Not today, sweetheart. Mommy has some things to figure out first. But you'll see her soon." As the Seattle sunset painted our new home in warm hues, I felt no triumph, only resolution. The ride I designed had reached its inevitable conclusion, a spectacular drop that left one passenger safely secured and another in free fall. 3 months after our strategic exit, life in Seattle had found its rhythm. Emily had adjusted beautifully to her new preschool. I'd stepped into my role leading the Northwest design team, and the legal proceedings had progressed with surprising efficiency. The mediation session was scheduled for 10 a.m. at my attorney's office. I arrived early, prepared for every scenario. Autumn entered precisely on time, almost unrecognizable without her carefully curated online persona. No makeup, simple clothing, subdued demeanor. "You look well," she offered awkwardly as we waited for our attorneys. "Seattle agrees with us," I replied neutrally. "Emily loves her new school." Pain flickered across her face at the mention of our daughter. "How is she?" "Thriving. She misses you." Autumn nodded, tears threatening. "I've been in therapy." The views, the validation, it became an addiction. I lost sight of what mattered. Before I could respond, our attorneys arrived, and we moved to the conference room. The terms were straightforward. Joint legal custody with primary physical custody remaining with me, structured visitation for Autumn, and strict provisions against using Emily in any social media content. "There's one more condition," I stated firmly. "All existing videos featuring Emily or me must be permanently deleted, not just made private." Autumn nodded without protest. "Already done. The account's gone. The sponsors sued for breach of contract, but that's my problem, not yours." After signing the agreement, we stepped into the hallway alone. "Your video," she said quietly. "It was brilliant and devastating. You turned the tables so completely." "It wasn't about winning," I clarified. "It was about protecting Emily and myself from exploitation." "I understand that now." She hesitated. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Not just for getting caught, but for betraying your trust in the first place." I studied her, seeing glimmers of the woman I'd once loved. "We all designed different rides, Autumn. Yours was built for short-term thrills without considering structural integrity. Mine was engineered for the long haul. And now we co-parent as best we can. Emily deserves that much." Outside, Seattle's familiar rain fell gently. As I walked to my car, I reflected on the journey, from unsuspecting husband to strategic architect of my own life's redesign. The Rehab My Husband series had indeed transformed someone, just not in the way Autumn had planned. It had transformed me into someone stronger, more decisive, and unwilling to accept anything less than genuine respect, especially from those closest to me. Some rides are designed for momentary excitement. Others are built to withstand the test of time. I knew which one I'd chosen, and I'd never look back.